What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report for Thursday, December 30th. We only got one more day after today of 2021, and then we will be into 2022. Hopefully things will go a little bit better. Well, today we do have some new reports. We have some big move from the Biden administration regarding test strips. I want to address what is going to happen there and how we are potentially going to spend about $137 million to get more test strips, but they might not come for 3 to 4 years. Also going to give you an update on the stimulus package, what we are hearing right now regarding what lawmakers want. This is mainly regarding affordable housing. We also know airlines are starting to struggle, and the good news is Omicron actually impacts the Delta COVID variant, so we will address that as well. But first, hopefully you guys are having a great day. If you could do me a favor, and if you enjoy these daily uploads, go ahead, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. But let's get into the update for today. First, lawmakers say they will be looking to make some big moves and make a big impact in regards to affordable housing in the upcoming negotiations of the Build Back Better Act. They say that many are telling them that the wages going up are great. The problem is when their rental contracts are coming due, rents are going to increase substantially. Here's what we know. Just in 2021, I think it's from like August of 2020 to August of 2021, we have seen rents jump in single family homes by over 9%. And housing experts anticipate that rents could jump even higher in 2022. So expect possibly a 10% or larger bump in rents. That's pretty substantial considering many people are paying about $1,200 for rent, which means they'd pay an additional $120 next year, which would mean their $1,200 rent would then go to $1,320 per month. Big jump. Now, in the previous Build Back Better Act, there was about $160 billion for affordable housing, which is great. There's something. However, some argue that this needs to be higher. This is not enough. Initially, they were asking for about $350 billion. So, they say it's not just about the affordable housing crisis that we face moving forward, but we have to also fix the affordable housing issue that we've already had. And I've talked about this in the past, how there are some affordable housing complexes that are run down. They have mold, they have rodents, right? Roof damage, leaks, right? A lot of different issues. So they are saying that we need to get that fixed, and that will be one of the priorities. Now, I just want to say this because I think a lot of people are wondering what's going to be included. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what will be included when the final Build Back Better Act does pass. But according to what a lot of lawmakers are asking for at this time, the problem is, yes, we could see certain things, but the majority of the bill that we once saw or once knew will most likely be cut. So we could see affordable housing. Will it be over $160 billion? I doubt it, but it's possible. Now, the other day, I actually did a video talking about how 3D printed houses could be the way of the future. And mainly because they're constructed faster, they're a lot cheaper to build, and they can be done either on site or in a factory and then move to a certain location. Well, here's what I want to address. A lot of people thought this was something that's going to be reality in the next few weeks or months. That's not the case. We are still years away from seeing this as a reality, to see full-on communities being built by a 3D printing machine. So just keep in mind that there's some good news regarding affordable housing. The problem is it's not great news for today. This is stuff that's going to happen in the future, which we could potentially see in 2 years, 5 years, most likely 10 years. We will definitely be right there. We'll have more options for how we can build and construct houses. So As who knows if I'll still be doing updates here on YouTube in 10 years, but we will see. So as we know more there, I promise I will fill you in on that update as well. Now, here's what's happening in regards to Omicron and workers. Many workers are actually afraid to admit that they have symptoms of Omicron. These are things like runny nose, scratchy throat. Those are the two main ones. And the reason for this is because they're afraid to admit it, because they know that once they come to that realization that they possibly do have it, they will have to go and get tested. That normally wasn't a big issue. Okay, have to get tested, I'll go get tested. Go wait in a line, get tested. But the problem here is that testing lines have become so long in many cities, a person will have to wait 2 to 3 hours at least just to get tested. And in many cases, this isn't waiting in your car. Okay, this isn't, signing up to some type of app on your phone and waiting in a queue and then going in at your specific time. This is, you walk up, you get in a line, and you stand there for hours and hours on end. And this is something that many people can't do. Elderly, you think somebody that's 75 years old wants to go stand in a line for 2 to 3 hours? No. And so some cities, and here's another issue, some cities don't even have enough test strips every single day in order to test all the people that come. So you go stand in a line, let's say you show up at 8 o'clock in the morning, you stand in a line for 1 to 2 hours, just to find out 2 hours later that testing site ran out of strips, ran out of tests. They cannot test any more people because they don't have any more. Here's the issue. We are seeing too many people getting in lines, which if you didn't have COVID before that, let's say you get in a line in an indoor facility, chances are you're probably going to have COVID after that. If somebody is healthy, but yet they have a little runny nose, didn't have COVID, but yet they get in the line with hundreds of other people that do have COVID, guess what? Chances are you got COVID the next day. So it's not great news, and it's not a good situation. But here's the issue. This is why President Biden was supposed to, okay, I don't want to put it, it's pretty much the Biden administration, the entire administration, not just him. They were supposed to get more tests, but they didn't. They actually backed out of a deal back in October to get more tests. So that's a big issue. So here's what workers are actually doing now, and this is causing major concerns. Workers will actually work for the remainder of their shift, even though they know they are experiencing symptoms. They're probably positive for COVID, but they'll work the remainder of their shift, maybe even the weekend, right, or the week, and then they will take 5 days off if they can. So they'll take off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? Try to make it work out so they don't have to take off a full week's worth of work, right? So they try to mix in the weekend there. Let's get a little bit closer to the weekend so I can take a couple days off of the weekend where I don't get paid anyway, right? That's a big issue. But let's address how this is actually impacting the airline industry. Because here's what we know. This morning, JetBlue announced they will be cutting roughly 1,300 flights through mid-January. And they're doing this because of the lack of employees due to Omicron. But reports also indicate that this is not the only airline that is considering doing this. Many airlines have actually found different ways to utilize staff. So even though they're not at their full potential as a complete airline, the staff is. They are working at their full potential. And for many, this means you cut flights and you operate a very thin airline for a few weeks or potentially months. But there's an issue there. If we let some staff say, okay, you want to stay out for 10 days, fine. Stay out for 10 days. But in the meantime, we have to cut our flights. So when these airlines are cutting their flights, they're losing money for one, right? That money should be coming in. But at the same time, people can't go to the places that they normally were going to. So that creates other issues, and that does hurt our economy. So we'll see what happens here, but my expectation is absolutely nothing. I don't expect anything to happen to really solve this issue other than the fact that we just wait and time will tell how we get out of this. That's pretty much it. But as far as COVID news, I addressed this just a minute ago, but the Biden administration has already signed a $137 million contract to build a factory for COVID test strip materials. Now, the reason for this is because the Biden administration has been getting heavily criticized over the past few weeks for not accepting a deal to ramp up COVID tests back in October. But according to reports, this $137 million deal won't even start producing materials for 3 to 4 years, according to the pharmaceutical company. And the reason behind this move is because the Biden administration believes that we will need tens of millions of tests per month clear into 2024 and beyond. So they don't expect we are going to get out of this, which makes me wonder, if they didn't expect we were going to get out of this for multiple years, why would they have not ordered more tests back in October? Makes absolutely no sense. The good news as far as Omicron is concerned, though, is that recent lab studies say that the Omicron variant will likely help a person fight off the Delta variant. But you have to have Omicron at some point. So if you were infected or are infected with Omicron, then studies show that you will have a higher chance of evading the Delta variant in the future. Which is good news, because the Delta variant is more severe, a lot more serious, does create more hospitalizations and obviously more deaths. The Omicron variant does not. It is actually being called by many as the common cold. We also know that according to recent reports that Johnson & Johnson's vaccine plus booster slashes the Omicron hospital stays. This is good news because Johnson & Johnson is heavily used in other countries as well. So this is going to help out a lot of people. Some very big news that came out yesterday, though, and I thought this was really interesting. I wanted to touch on this because this is something that many states are actually considering, but the Michigan Department of Health is actually sticking with the 10-day isolation period for anybody that does test positive for COVID. They say that they will review the supporting evidence and they will not adopt the 5-day isolation guidance that the CDC has provided. They also admit that the 5-day rule is something that they want to move forward with at some point, but this is not something that they want to consider in regards to high-risk settings such as schools or congregate care settings. So what I can tell you is other states are looking into this exact same thing. Other states are considering not adopting the new 5-day rule simply because there has not been enough supporting evidence. And with what was said yesterday, and I did a video on this as well, and I'll link to this down in the description box below as well, but what was said by the CDC director, Rochelle Walensky, was that they understand this wasn't a great move, but this is going to help people get back into their jobs. This is going to help the economy from not suffering, right? But they understand with this move, it does create some risk. So we'll see what other states do decide on doing, but as soon as we know more, I promise I'll come back on, share all the latest news and updates on that as well. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.